his shoulder twisted an unnatural angle. Abaddon had killed them both in the wreckage of Poland, but looking at Axeman's downcast face, he knew that they had not escaped without scars. Broken and forgotten. He had thought to feel funny joy. Strange voice had yawned in his brain. Abaddon dismissed the thought and spoken to the boss. War Master, he said, it is over. What needed to be done? Abaddon. The war was ordered, and we obeyed. There were orders. And Abaddon was astonished to find tears spilling down his brother's cheeks. There were traitors to the War Master. Let that get into it. Axeman nodded, but Abaddon could see the seed of doubt take root in his expression. He lifted Axeman and supported him as they made their way towards the waiting Stormbird that would take them from this cursed place and back to the vengeful spirit. The traitors within the Mournival were dead, but he had not forgotten the look of regret he had seen on Axeman's face. Horus Axeman would need watching, Abaddon decided. The view screen of the Strategium displayed the blackened, barren rock of Ispan 5. Ispan 3 was once enriched and verdant. Ispan 5 had always been a mass of tangled, igneous rock where no life thrived. Once there had been life, but that had been eons ago, and its only remnants were scattered basalt cities and fortifications. The people of the Coral City had thought these ruins were the evil gods of their religion, who waited there, plotting revenge. Perhaps they were right, mused Horus, thinking of Fulgrim and his complement of Emperor's children, who were preparing the way for the next phase of the plan. Ispan 3 had been the prologue, but Ispan 5 would be the most decisive battle the galaxy had ever seen. The thought made Horus smile as he looked up to see Malachus limping painfully towards his throne. What news, asked Horus. Have all sorts units returned to their posts? I have just heard from the Conqueror, laughed Malachus. Angron has returned. He is the last. Horus turned back to the gnarled globe of Ispan 5 and said, good. It is no surprise to me that he should be the last to quit the battlefield. So, what is the Butcher's bill? We lost a great many in the landings, and more than a few in the palace, replied Malachus. The Emperor's children and the Death Guard were similarly mauled. The World Eaters lost the most. They are barely above half strength. You do not think this battle was wise, said Horus. You cannot hide that from me now. The battle was costly, averred Malachus, and it could have been shortened. If efforts had been made to withdraw the legions before the siege was reached, then lives and time could have been saved. We do not have an infinite number of Astartes, and we certainly do not have infinite time. I do not believe there was any great victory to be won here. You do not see the psychological gains. Abaddon was blooded. The real threats among the rebels have been eliminated, and the World Eaters have been brought to a point where they cannot turn back. If there was ever any doubt as to whether this crusade would succeed, it has been banished by what I have achieved on Ispan 3. And what are your orders? Asked Malachus. Horus turned back to the view screen and said, we have tarried here too long, and it is time to move onwards. You are right that I allowed myself to be drawn into a war that we did not have to understand, but I will rectify that error. War Master? Bomb the city. Wipe it off the face of the planet. Logan couldn't move his legs. Every heartbeat was agony in his lungs, as the muscles of his chest ground against splinters of bone. He coughed up clots of blood with every breath, and he was sure that each one would be his last, as the will to live seeped from his body. Through a crack in the rubble pinned to the ground, Logan could see the dark grey sky. He saw streaks of fire dropping through the clouds and closed his eyes as he realized that they were the first salvos of an orbital bombardment. Death was raining down on the Coral City for the second time, but this time it wouldn't be anything as exotic as a virus. High explosives would bring the city down and put a final terrible exclamation mark at the end of the Battle of Ispan 3. Such a display was typical of the War Master. It was a final epic. The would leave no one in any doubt as to who had won. The first orange blooms of fire burst over the city. The ground shook. Buildings collapsed in waves of fire, and the streets boiled with flame once more. The ground shuddered as though in the grip of an earthquake, and Lurkin felt his prison of debris shift. Hard spikes of flame buffeted him, and flames burst across the remains of the Parliament building. Then darkness fell at last, and Lurkin felt nothing else. 100 of Tarvitz's loyalists remained. They were the only survivors of their glorious last stand, and he had gathered them in the remains of
A,
the
B, C,
sons of
D,
Horus,
E.
Emperor's children, and even a few lost little world eaters. Tardis noticed there were no death guard in their numbers, thinking that perhaps a few had survived the carrying scouring of the trenches, but knowing that they might as well have been on the other side of this country. This was the end. They all knew, but none of them gave voice to that fact. He knew all their names now. Before, they had just been grime-streaked faces among the endless days and nights of battle. But now they were brothers, men he would die with. Shooting stars punched through the dark clouds overhead, scorching holes through which the glimmering stars could be seen. The stars shone down on the coral city in time to watch the city die. Did we hurt them, Captain? Asked Lurkin. Is it me, Captain? Tarvitz thought they were. Yes. We hurt them. They'll remember this. A bomb slammed into the presenter's palace, finally blasting what little remained of its great stone flower into flame and showers of flame. The loyalists did not throw themselves into cover or run for shelter. There was little choice. The War Master was bombarding the city, and he was killed. He would not let them slip away at that time. Flowers of flame blew all across the palace, closing in the city. The battle for the coral city was over. The temple was nearly complete. Its high arched ceiling of black stone, beneath which the officers of the new crusade were. Anger so fumed at the decision to leave Isfahan free before the destruction of the loyalists was complete, while Mortarion his death by the barrier and the rest of the gathering. Lord Commander Eidolon, still smarting from the failures his legion had committed in the eyes of the War Master, had several squads of Emperor's children accompanying him, but his presence was not welcome, merely tolerated. Malachurst, Abaddon, and Aximan represented the sons of Horus, and beside them stood Erebus. The War Master stood before the temple's altar, its four faces representing what Erebus called the four faces of the gods. Above him, a huge holographic image of Isfahan V dominated the temple. An area known as the Urgal Depression was highlighted, a rocky crater overlooked by the fortress that Fulgrim had prepared for the War Master's forces. Blue blips indicated likely landing sites, routes of attack. He spent the last hour explaining the details of the operation to his commanders, and he was coming to an end. At this very moment, 7 legions are coming to destroy us. They will find us at Isfahan V, and the battle will be great. But in truth, it will not be a battle at all, for we have achieved much since last we gathered. Captain Erebus, enlighten us as to matters beyond Isfahan. All those well at sea. New tattoos have been inked on his scalp, echoing the sigils carved into the stones of the temple. Sanguinius and the Blood Angels will not trouble us, and we have received word that the Ultramarines have begun to muster at Calp. They suspect nothing and will not be in a position to lend their strength to the Loyalist force. Our allies outnumber our enemies. Then it is done, said Horus. The backs of the Emperor's legions will be broken at Isfahan V. And what then? Asked Aximan. A strange melancholy had settled upon Horus Aximan since the battle of the coral city. He saw Abaddon cast a wary glance in his brother's direction. When our trap is sprung, the Emperor will still reign and the Imperium will still answer to him. After Isfahan V, what then? Then, little Horus, said the War Master. Then we strike the terror.
Alexa, pause. Alexa, play Titan Death.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Alexa, play Titan Death on Audible.
Resuming Titan Death from Audible. There's about 6 minutes left in this chapter and about 13 hours, 38 minutes left in this book.
Alexa, go to the beginning.
Prologue. The final gambit. The spires of the palace formed a cityscape as glorious as any once boasted by Terra's orbital plates, now all the more impressive for lack of suitable comparators. The plates were gone, or changed as part of Terra's transformation to Fortress World. Only one remained, the rival, and its beauty was much curtailed. Its towers propped back to take heavy guns, and its adornments buried beneath walls of rock. Rogal Dawn had not set foot upon his immense flagship for months, being occupied with the fortification of the throne world. But the time had come to ascend into orbit, if but for a while. The defense was giving way to attack. In the high orbits of mankind's home world and above its lonely moon, the vast armada is taking shape. The blood-red and bright white vessels of the Blood Angels and White Scars Space Marine legions at its core. Terra's battered orb gleamed before the oculus of Lord Dawn's personal observation deck, high upon a tower of the Phalanx's spine. In a few precious places, the fragile signs of rebirth, engineered by the Emperor's the blue of ancient painstakingly placed back into being. The sun shone as it always had, a billion more years. Man had been purchased on this final world, but the world that was Earth had suffered in and what little reparation had been made was this. My father's work is under threat as never before, said Dawn to Malkador, the sole other occupant of the chamber. This is the moment we can tear the walls. My brother Horus is at Beatagon. He is at the outermost gates of the city. The end is near. The deck was wide, circular, with an unbroken window the height of several men, making up a majority of it. So clear and perfect was the glassite compromise in it, that if the bronze plasteel dome was ignored, it seemed that the chamber was open.
Yeah.
Did Tashi eat any food today?
Yes.
Siege metaphors has never been more apt. How you managed to maintain a remarkable we all do as we are. I was a Castellan long before I was Praetorian. Beatagon is the gateway to Terra. If Horus takes the subsector, he paused and drew in a deep, weary breath. When Horus takes Beatagon, the way will be wide open. The race reaches its conclusion. Gilliman comes from the east. The lion lays waste to the enemy's holdings. Horus must make his move soon, or he will fail. He knows this, and so he will rush. Then he will make mistakes. If only he could be stopped before he reaches Terra. Dawn looked down at the situation. We both know that he will come here, said Dawn. The question is when. The task is not to stop him, but to slow him. We can weaken him at Beatagon. If he can be brought to a halt before the walls of the palace, my brother will come and trap him. Dawn gestured out at the cancerous smear of the Imperial Palace, clinging to the highest mountains of the world. Horus's forces are as battered as ours. Though greater in number, they abandon discipline for the armories of the new gods. Checkmate. Sanguinius says Rubunte's legion remains close to full strength, and his other forces are numberless. Not even Horus can resist the Ultramarines. His grip on my traitorous brother's egos broadcast only so long. If Horus is delayed, then you will lose, even if you reach the focus of the house itself. The calculation is then what damage will be done and what can be prevented. We will win. I will not consider the possibility of defeat. It is the manner of victory we achieve that troubles me. He walked closer to the oculus, turning away from terror to the armada of ships gathering around Luda. Sanguinius and the council are ready to depart. The great muster is underway at Vitigarum. Thousands, hundreds, they will ensure that Vitigarum is Horus. Malkador walked to the far side. His staff had been quiet.
Pay a heavy price, he said. Use many resources to tell you.
And it is Regent Garland sits at the confluence of stable roads. They offer the fastest route to terror. The Garmin cluster is the key to victory to whoever holds it. It is already lost to us. As an attacking it, Horus has no one left for him. He has no source for it. It is genius for strategy. We must come. If we can hold the core system, we take Neocon City perhaps. The front will be stabilized. Correct. But the longer the better. Sanguinius and the Khan must find a good time. I'm glad to sacrifice even more than the worlds of the Garden cluster for that. The armies of the War Master attack the Garden cluster with unmatched he pushes at us. This time, the Imperium pushed back. Halfway, into the front. Chapter 1. The first. There was wind on the street. The breeze was amended, but it felt real the same. Life in the tent blurred the past into the present. What was and what had been existed in the same moment. Her life had become one long book to be browsed through. They did not seem so very strange to smell the animal scents of the megaphone. At one and the same time, Mohana Mankarta's eyes was in fact the next body of Luxor in Victoria, and she was by her mount, Hamaj, and she was a sleeping child. She was telling the story of the day Olivia was born to a class of her daughters in Texas. She was young, she was old. Memory bled into dream. In what lesser minds regarded her naked body twitched feebly in the fluid that gave her life, her arms brushing against the network of feeder tubes, data tables, and synaptic linkage cables between her. She did not feel it. She did not see the tiny confines of her body. Her body was imprisoned. The wind carried fertile life of the storm, depositing it over the promised lands of House 5. As the wind nourished the trees, so it blew vigor into Mohana Mankarta Vai's soul.
Sunlight blazed through hazy air, and she remembered other sensations long denied her. The trees shook and roared as the breeze blew gently and strong. The flavour of mare's milk lingered in her mouth. It was springtime, not at once. The sun was warm on her face, even as the raw iron of cold air burned her lungs. She panted. Her face tingled, her body thrilling from her ride to the top of the bluff. Her fingers were numb about the leather of the reins, though she would never let them go. Her grip was too practiced. All these details were pin sharp, perfect beyond the human being's ability to note them in the moment, dredged up to be relived from the patterning of her organic engrams, and rebuilt by her tightened immense touch.